Hello and thanks for joining us. This is the Signature Show and I'm Vin Martin Obiora Ilo. It's been quite a busy week for Nigerians, and that's talking about politics. Even though the president within the week left the country for London, he's going to be away for 10 days. It's still politics, politics, politics. The big issue is still the defections that have been taking place from the APC to PDP, from PDP to APC, and then accusations and counter accusations. Well, APC continues to say that the mass exit of top members of their party to the PDP is nothing to worry them. But those that cross-carpeted are saying that the APC is being economical with the truth. Analysts here and there say that no matter how strong the APC is, that there is no doubt that those movements will affect them one way or the other. So today we are remaining with the issue of defections, what the APC should do, what the APC is doing, and of course, what some members of the PDP are saying about defection. The area most hit by these defections is the National Assembly. And that takes us to the issue of the day. Will President of the Senate, Saraki, be impeached when the Senate resumes? Well, there are threats from everywhere. Tambuwal and a number of them are saying that the APC will see the other side of them if they make any attempt to impeach the Senate president. But these are things that are playing out, will play out in the days to come. Talking to us on the show today, we have Honorable FAROUK Adamu ALIYU, who used to be the minority leader at the House of Representatives, and a very, very prominent ally of President Buhari. He'll be talking to us in a moment. We'll also be reaching out to Honorable SERGIUS OGUNS, who is the member representing ESAN Northeast and ESAN Southeast constituency of Edo State in the House of Representatives. Before we bring you the interviews that we have on the show this afternoon, let's go on our online watch. We saw something that late Dora Akunyili, who used to be the information minister, said a couple of years ago, talking about how Nigeria can be rebranded and how Nigeria can make progress. So we'll take that, and when we return, we'll bring you those interviews.
Today, as we speak, our citizenship as Nigerians, we cannot take it to the bank. We want to bequeath to our children a Nigerian citizenship that they can take to the bank. Otherwise, God will not forgive us. And when we talk about inefficiency in educational sector, health sector, political sector, governance and all, everything boils down to corruption. And corruption is not just about giving or taking money. Corruption is about not doing the right thing. And why are we corrupt? Because of lack of understanding. Because we do not understand that we don't need too much. Our wants may be too many, but our needs are very little. And I don't even envy corrupt people because they destroy themselves and destroy their children, generations unborn. And when we look at the way we behave to ourselves and to this country, Nigeria, for which we have no other country that we can call our own, it's all because of bad attitude. That attitude of the past and even the present that we are saying through rebranding, we must change. If we don't change, nothing will change. If we don't change, we will not be able to achieve Vision 2020, because it's human beings that will work to actualize Vision 2020. We will not get it from the air. Angels will not come down. Foreigners will not come here to fix Nigeria for us. They have their own countries to fix. So that change of attitude, which is a critical aspect of rebranding, we must embrace. If we don't embrace it, I'm sorry that we may not be talking seriously. So rebranding is the key. Nigeria of my dream is a Nigeria that Nigeria's people will be so changed in their attitude that we will be in a position to tell the world who we are. That we be in a position to define who we are. Because for too long, people have defined who we are. We need to evolve a Nigeria where we have a sense of pride for our country, where we will love one another, where we will appreciate what we have done and who we are. Right now, we are not even appreciating who we are. We are not appreciating what we have done. Look at Nigeria's role in West Africa through ECOMOG. We brought peace there. Central Africa, Congo, Darfur, and others. Nobody is talking about it. We lost lives, we lost resources. Go to the internet, it is United Nations. Yes, we are working under United Nations, but it's Nigeria through ECOMOG that performed the magic. Look at what we are doing all over Africa through the Technical Aid Corps, sending professionals all over to help develop those countries. Nobody is talking about it. Look at what we did in South Africa during the dismantling of apartheid. Our people even gave up part of their salaries in the 70s and 80s to help in the struggle. Nobody is talking about it. We have beautiful stories to tell the global audience. And we have to, under the platform of rebranding, put ourselves in a position to lend our voice to say, this is who we are, this is what we are doing, this is what we did. And in that way, we'll be able to evolve a Nigeria that people will have a sense of pride. I'm proud of Nigeria despite the challenges. I had an American green card, I gave it up. I'm not excited about it. If I was crazy about it, I would keep my green card and eventually qualify for citizenship. But I don't want it because I love this country with a passion. Without this country, there will not be me.
That was late Dora Akunyili. You're still watching the Signature Show, and I did tell you when we started that earlier I had spoken with FAROUK ADAMU ALIYU, former minority leader of the House of Representatives and a chieftain of the APC in Jigawa State. Let's serve you that interview with FAROUK ADAMU ALIYU. Honorable ALIYU, my pleasure to have you on my show.
Good afternoon.
Let's start from what is happening right now. People are leaving the APC in droves. What's going on?
Well, so many things. Politicking, 2019, personal interest, and people's choice. It's not a good thing for us as a party. We're not happy that they're leaving because one vote matters. And each one of them that left has followers that could add up. But then there's nothing you can do. When people have made up their minds to leave, to us, they are leaving not because of too many fundamental differences, rather personal differences. Like in how do they get elected again? Which platform do they use, thinking that now look, how do we go about it to win election? Just like it happened in 2014. So many people left to join us in APC, believing we were going to win. We won. So now history is repeating itself. They believe when they leave us, they win an election. Time will tell.
You just said the reasons you gave for the movement, you blamed everyone else but the APC. You think APC as a party has not contributed in any way for this choice or decision to leave by a good number of your party men and women?
I cannot say that there were no faults of APC in some cases. Yes, there are certain issues that maybe should have been done differently, but they were still not fundamentally wrong or fundamentally things that should make them leave. Because there are meant to be disagreements. In some cases, yes, the party was wrong in taking certain decisions. But then if you believe in the house you built in, you just don't abandon, you just don't build the party and leave because of your personal interests or irreconcilable personal interests.
Let's go to a state like Benue. And you say personal interest, but the governor made it so clear that he was leaving because of the way the presidency, the APC, the government handled, for instance, the killings, repeated killings by, in quotes, herdsmen, but for some of us, criminals, activities of criminals in Benue State, which, according to the governor, has not been handled in a way that convinces everybody that the government is really against what's going on.
Well, I think
could that be described as personal interest?
Yeah, of course. It's also subjective. Some of the things the governor was asking for him to be allowed to arm his militia. And look, when you play politics with people's lives, one life lost is like the whole generation is lost. Now, when you start mentioning herdsmen because of sympathy, these problems of herdsmen have been there. And the government has done everything possible by deploying forces there, by doing everything possible to ensure that, look, this thing do not happen. But while the government was doing this, he, as the governor, who happened to be from the same party with this government, decided to enact a law that could be divisive, more of divisive than bringing the people together. And then if he believes in one nation, one country, one party, which he was part of, shouldn't he have consulted? And if you remember very well, Plateau State governor, advised him against such a law, because what will it entail?
Honorable ALIYU, the Benue State government, or the people of Benue State, enacted a law. And then Plateau advised the governor, which means that in Plateau State, no law was enacted. So how come the herdsmen attacked Plateau State? If all that created that divisive, in quotes, as you said, was the law.
When you start talking of herdsmen, you see that it's sad and very unfortunate. In Plateau State, when you talk of herdsmen, even okay, let's talk about Plateau. You mean all the crises that are happening in Plateau are herdsmen? No. The last one that happened on the 23rd of June, after our convention, do you know that the APC chairman of the speaker, I think he was killed, a Christian, believing that he was just APC. So you see, it's got nothing to do with herdsmen, but political. And sadly...
No.
Of course.
That the herdsmen issue is political?
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying, most of those killings are political. And look, we politicians, we the elites, fuel these things for political reasons. Sadly also, because look, if you look at it, let me also go to Plateau State. There was a governor who is being tried, former governor, who made pronouncement that, look, if anything happens to him, there will be fire and brimstone in Plateau. And it happened. It was, his prophecy came to pass. Yeah. So it's political.
Does it mean, are you suggesting by any means that Dariye was responsible for the herdsmen?
No, I'm not saying that. You see, you are mixing the issues. No. Whenever we talk about killing, you say herdsmen. And now if killings happen probably in Zamfara, you say bandits. You see, that's why you journalists, you are so selfish. You don't look at it in the context of the country. So anybody killed, anybody killed in Zamfara is killed, is killed by a bandit. But if somebody is killed in Plateau or Benue or Taraba, because it's predominantly Christian area, you say herdsman. It's not fair. It's not. Of course.
Ali, are you suggesting by any chance?
You said Darie. That's what you said.
I asked you because you said a governor said if he was touched.
I didn't mention name, but now let me tell you, it's not Darie, but Jank. I didn't mention name, but you said Darie. It was Jank who made those statements when he was put before the court to ask. I mean, for him to, he was arraigned by EFCC over money stolen while he was governor. And you remember in that Plateau state, the Gom, that's the traditional ruler of that institution, went to take him on bail with siren blaring to take him on bail, you know. So I said these things are political. The Gom of Jos is the economic advisor to the former governor. So you cannot remove politics from these things. No. Us politicians, unfortunately, sadly, use people's blood to play politics. But God will judge us.
No, but Honorable ALIYU, we need to discuss this herdsmen.
Of course.
Are you saying that most of the attacks of herdsmen in the country, across the country, including states in the southeast and other places, are sponsored by politicians?
Some, yes. Most are sponsored by politicians. And you see, when you say herd, let me also take you back to Benue. You remember some priests were killed. And the same governor and the government of Benue State said herdsmen killed them. What happened? Christians, some of the militia from Benue State, thieves, were responsible for killing the priests. So, which means you see politics. So you cannot remove politics from these kind of things. And then when the governor...
Some of the things you're saying are not backed by evidence. When you say they killed them, people have not been put on trial. They've not been...
Showed them on TV when the police paraded them and they confessed to have done the killing. It's not me saying now. Your television station...
but they've not been tried.
Well, that is true. I agree. Okay, let me see. Alleged.
We'll come back to that. But let's go back to APC, the defections. Does it not worry people like you who have been in opposition and been ardent followers of President Buhari over these years, that a man who came to power with so much goodwill has frittered almost all of it away in a matter of 3 years, where APC is being deserted like the PDP was deserted about 3 years ago? Is history not for us to learn?
Well, it is. But you see, now when you say people are living in droves, it's true people are living, and it's sad, as I told you. It's not something that we like. But the difference, let me even take you back to that days of PDP and our days, when we're getting the people were defecting from PDP to APC. 5 governors of that time left. Now it's 3. So if nothing, 3 and 2. You know, I mean 3 and 5. That's one. Then 2, there are fundamental differences between how Buhari runs his government and how some other people want it to be run. This is somebody who hates to hear anything corruption. This is, I mean, when people in government think that, look, government and governance will be reduced to sharing of wealth or juicy positions where people can go and make money at the detriment of you and I, there are fundamental, these are things that, look, the president and some of us will not allow. So look, and then we're in democracy. Listen, we're in democracy. The people of this country have a choice. If the people of Nigeria, you know, look at the gang up, who are ganging up to live? Why are they living? If in democracy, people of Nigeria say, look, yes, we believe in those people. Let's go back to the days of corruption, so much corruption. Let's go back to the days of Boko Haram. Because you see, when you talk about all these security things, People, you have forgotten when you were living in Abuja here, when we couldn't sleep well, or people from here going to Maiduguri, you pass through probably 100, 150 checkpoints. People have forgotten about all that, but that's okay. It's politics. But as I said, people have the right to make that decision. If Nigerian public believe that, look, it is better to go back to PDP, so be it. We're in democracy. We cannot force people. But then this government, we with the president, shall not bend down the rules for political reasons at the detriment of the people of this country.
But you're trivializing this thing and making it a little pedestrian. Forgive me, but how can you're just talking about personal differences when the governor of Sokoto was given reasons for leaving, when the Senate president gave reasons for leaving, they talked about a lot of misgovernance, a lot of promises unfulfilled, a lot of things going wrong in the country. And these are verifiable developments in the country. Is it not something that should, prick the APC to say, let's get back, let's sit down and know exactly what we are doing wrong, instead of the traditional way we know the APC of today, passing the buck?
No. Nobody is telling you that everything APC government is doing is right. No. We're not telling you that. But at its regards to defection, let me take the Senate President issue. His own, it's personal. It's, even if he says something different now, you remember he was accused of so many things, taken to court, but then cleared. So while
he
those...
cleared himself. He went to court to defend himself, yes.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, so in the eyes of the law, he's squeaky clean in that regards. So, but while those processes were going on, he took it personal in such that budget of the country could not even be passed until June.
But the Senate President does not decide. I mean, if...
He is the chairman of the National Assembly. And whatever he wants as the leader can be done. Remember, I was a minority leader. I was a principal officer. I know how these things are done. And look, is it not the same Senate President and his colleagues that are refusing to ratify some of the appointments made by the President? If he wants it to be done, it will be done. But
if he doesn't agree with it, what is he going to do?
Exactly.
Let's use the EFCC chairman, for instance.
Yes.
Came twice to the Senate.
Yes.
Twice the agencies of government, of the Buhari government, said he was not fit and proper.
Yes.
To be cleared.
Yes.
So how would you blame Senate President Saraki and his colleagues?
That is just one out of many.
No, I needed to give an example. So you could give me one other example where he compromised.
No, one out of many. That is not as important as passing the budget. And then, when they were rejecting all these appointments, one of the reasons they gave was that, look, we shall not listen to anything from the president until he does AYZ. And there are some negotiations going behind the scene which they are not for public consumption. Some of the requests made by my colleagues, this president would rather die, talk less of even leaving office, than to do them, which were normal things covered during the last regime. You remember Okonjo-Iweala, what she said, how they were settling National Assembly members. In her book, she said it, she defended it. This government shall not absolutely do those kind of things. And this is the government where padding, you remember the budget padding, which is reality. Government proposes this, and members of National Assembly approve something different. I can even tell you, give you an example. There's Cross River Basin Development Authority. One senator from in National Assembly put about 12 billion naira purchase of second-hand Peugeot, used, empowerment. But the president was prevailed upon that, look, if you do not sign this budget, there will not be, the country will be at standstill. So the president had to, in those kind of circumstances, append his signature. So this is the kind of country we live in, where members of the National Assembly or the political elites will sit and decide. And where you have National Assembly members deciding who a contractor should be. It was during my time, when we were in the National Assembly, we never appoint contractor. You only give sites while the government decides what to do. But these days, they have monetized things. And then we have a president in Buhari who would not do these kind of things. Things have to be done correctly, rightly, not for political reasons. What can the masses of this country benefit for? Can anybody deny the fact that there is a lot of infrastructural development in this country? No. Can anybody deny the fact that you cannot sit down on the table and share money? Can anybody say that, look, corruption now can be discussed on the table? Under the table, yes, you cannot stop that. So these are some things that our people, our colleagues, our friends, elites will not see to allow happen. So there is collision caused between Buhari's government and some of the political elites. And as I said, look, there are certain things we shall not compromise. And if people think that, look, we'll be threatened by not winning election, we do the wrong thing. Do you know, or you know, that there is God, and we are all going to be accountable to God. Someday we are going to die. So we are going to be answerable to God, not to politicians, please.
No. Wait. What are some of these things that those that are living had asked for that the president will not give them?
Okay, like...
Let me tell you. What did the Sokoto governor ask for that the president did not do for him? What did...
let me tell you. Just like I told you that some things are not for the press, Sokoto governor is my very close friend. He knows the discussion I and him had. And we're on air. God knows, and he knows. Discussion I had with him. He has an ambition. You can't stop him. Some of those guys want Buhari to step down, not to contest. That he's old, he should give us chance, the younger ones. And look, in politics...
But they're not saying... They're not wrong.
Yeah, but
he's old.
Oh, yeah, he is old. But then, since when did it become an offense to be an old man? Don't you want to be old? Don't you want to be 70, 80 years? Okay, if you say being old, let them die. Let anybody die. No, so wait. In Malaysia or somewhere, 95-year-old man was...
93.
93 was elected. So look, let's not even go there. And then look, if you say Buhari should not contest, he's a Democrat. One, go to stay in the party, go to primaries, defeat him. When you defeat him in the primaries, I assure you Buhari will support whoever. But you just don't, because you know you might not. I'm not saying you will not. You might not defeat him. Then you say, look, the best thing is for him to go. He's an old man. He should just leave. He should give us an opportunity. That's not democratic.
But are you saying that why they are demanding that the president should not contest, probably, is because of the record since he took over? Let's talk about, of course, we talked about the herdsmen issue, which is becoming almost intractable. The economy. Would you say that the economy has done better in the last 3 years for members of the APC to, without any problem, say, Mr. President, you just go, when they know they have other people that can do better than him?
No. Listen, the economy has done I will not say extremely well, but has not done badly.
What are the indices?
The indices, I'm going to tell you. Now, the indices are, you remember when we came, there was a recession. What caused the recession? What did this government? No. What was the price of oil before we came into power? And what's the price of oil now? And you also remember the savings that the former government never left. They didn't leave any savings. So now this is a government that actualized the single treasury account, which the former government had no discipline to enforce. So if nothing today, if you want to know how much it's in the kitty of this country is there, and what are being done, you know. It's there. So look, if you tell me that the economy is doing bad, it's not true. Take agriculture. In Ebonyi State, the production of rice and what they were producing before, 3 years. In Kebbi, in so many states, where now the importation of rice, which is the staple food of this country, has been reduced by probably 80%. Is that not something? Is that not money that would be used to import these things? Our people have been empowered. This government...
Empowered how?
How? Through agriculture. People have gone back to the farm. That's empowerment.
And how does this translate in the everyday well-being of the people and the cost of food items?
How?
A bag of rice, when Goodluck Jonathan was in power, is almost half the price of what a bag of rice is today.
It still brings me back to the point of, wait, the country has not enough money because we are import dependent. The amount of money we had...
But you just said that we had made progress in agriculture.
I know, but yeah,
and there are a lot of savings in agriculture.
Yes, but that's just that's just one thing. Still so many things.
Unemployment.
How? What do you mean unemployment? Hasn't this government even introduced some remuneration for poor people or for people without job?
Which
The social intervention fund, 30,000 naira are given to some students without jobs.
What number of students? How many?
A lot of them. In fact, as at the first of this month, another 200 or 300,000 people will be given opportunity. These are things that are not new. People in this country, we're not used to these kind of things. So, and look, you see, I can also understand what the members of the opposition are saying. We were through that. Sometimes when you're in opposition, you lose your senses. And I'm confessing to you now.
You lost yours at
at one time. Yes, at one time. So I can understand that we can appreciate their level of, insanity sometimes, because you could be driven into insanity as in opposition. Because look, you will see government working while you can't do nothing and you can't claim credit for it. Instead of them to applaud what we do right and see what do we do wrong and they continue to, but no, nothing of APC is good to other people, the opposition, that's not opposition, that's hatred. And we are all the same. APC and PD, look, we are the same people.
When you were in opposition, yes, what did Goodluck Jonathan do right?
Jonathan Goodluck did a lot of things right.
You suddenly remember now.
No. I never
because I remember interviews I had with you about, so suddenly he has done something.
No. Honestly, Jonathan had done something right. Just like he did more wrongs. Now we do more right than wrong. Of course, there are some things that we do that are not right. That's true. That's human also. And then we are learning. And honestly, you see, one of the things that happens or happened to us and up till now, the magnitude of the rot, we didn't know. There are certain projections that we as a party thought, but when we came in, it was so monumental that, wow, we shouldn't have said this, because now here we are with empty treasury. This brings me to issue of appointments. You find out that there are certain appointments that have not been done. Why? There will even be no money to pay those people. And so if politicians cannot make sacrifice, I, Honorable FAROUK ADAMU, I am one of the people that have been with the president from day one to date. I'm one of the probably 5 closest people to him today. I don't have any role officially in this government. Because not everybody will be in government. And you don't have to be in government to contribute your quota. So if some people think that, look, we need to come and chop, it's not done like that. The president we have there would rather leave than to do certain things that are wrong.
Anyway, when you say you don't have any official position, I've heard about this silent position in government, friend of the president. Sometimes it's bigger than being. Anyway, that's by the way. But let's look at the APC. Your colleagues across the country are saying that, look, the defections mean nothing to us. we'll win, we'll win, we'll win. Are they just trying to put this facade that everything is fine? Is it not something, like you said, you don't, I mean, in truth, that those of you there don't like it? Is it not something that should, I asked this and I'm asking again, is it not something that will make the APC retreat and look at its template and see what the party has done wrong?
Let me tell you and tell everybody that, look, I do not agree with some of my leaders who say it does not bother them, who say those people good riddance. I don't agree with that. As I told you earlier, these are people who helped us to win. That's true. So when they're leaving, it pains us. And anybody, any one of us, I mean anybody, any one of us who comes to say they are nobody or they can go to hell is not true. Of course, you know, some leaders will have to show that, look, it doesn't bother them. But I am telling you as an inner person, it bothers us. But then, from the other side, we have also gained. There are people down the line, not the big elites, who have suddenly realized that, okay, this is a gang up against, fight against corruption. This is a gang up against rule of law. So let the elites gang up. We, the lower people, will teach them a lesson. And I think it is high time that the masses start teaching us a lesson. If we will not defect as politicians, you don't defect within the first year, second year. You will wait until 6 months to election. You defect. I think, and without cogent reason, without any reason to show that, look, yes, I think it's good you leave. The masses need to teach us a lesson to show that, look, you cannot just, we elect you under this platform. For your selfish interests, you leave. So when you come to the ballot, we show it to you.
Under these circumstances, how does the APC want to move forward?
Now, there are some that we are still talking to. Some of them that have left. We're talking to them, pleading. Tell them, look, if you have, because in some states, it is problem between governor and members of National Assembly. Nothing to do with the president or the government. So those anger, the anger from the state is translated on the national body or the president. So in such circumstances, we are trying to reconcile the governors and some members of National Assembly and some elites. In some cases, we as the party, and also the leaders of the party, shall force some of the governors to rescind their decision in saying they will not work with XYZ because of their personal local interests. So we are pleading. We're pleading with the governors, pleading with the members, trying to cajole them, trying to bring them back to come. But then also, now people are defecting from APC, some. We're waiting for PDP too. The way they said they were waiting for us, we're waiting for them. They are also going to go for primaries. At least we have a presidential candidate in Buhari. We've not seen anybody yet trying to compete with him. In PDP, there are probably 15 known aspirants. There shall be katakata, and we're also waiting to go and appeal to some of them.
And harvest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's politics, because there are some of them that we know will not see eye to eye. And then look, you know, it baffles me, and I'm now appealing to my PDP friends and colleagues. Don't give candidature to all these defectors, because they will leave them also someday and come back to us. So let them just send them back to us, and then we sit and settle our differences.
You were coordinator, chief campaign officer for Adams Oshomole. Adams.
I was the director general of his campaign.
Okay. Yes. You were the director general of his campaign. And he's been here 1-2 months. And a lot of people say he has divided the APC more than he has united the APC. Is it something you subscribe to?
No. It is subjective.
So what is it? What is the truth?
You see, when it's just like the APC. When people are used to one style for a long time, and you bring change, there is bound to be resistance. The way things were done, and people are different. Oyegun, our former chairman, is different. Adams is different. So the approach in doing things are different. So there are some who have been used to how Oyegun was running the party, rightly or wrongly, and now somebody came with new ideas, different way of doing things, so they will resist. Of course, there are some people who are not happy with the way he does his things. But then there is also nature. We that have elected him, we believe that it's only an Adams that can unite the party now. Yes, there are some mistakes here and there by him, just like by, as a human being. And we're trying to reconcile. We're trying to ensure, because and politics, it's intrigues. So there will be crisis. Nobody will tell you that it's going to be smooth sail.
So are you saying that Anna Oshomole, who is being accused of not concerning himself with the party, he's getting involved in day-to-day running of government, where he starts saying that he will sack ministers and give them query if the president wants to be disrespected, that he, Adams, in quotes, who probably is bigger than the president, will not tolerate being disrespected by ministers. Well, was that part of the objective when, for instance, you were campaigning for him?
No, absolutely no. I mean, I do not subscribe to that statement he made as well, as it regards to president. But as it regards to ministers, yes, the minister is not above the party. Absolutely. And if the party decides that, look, Minister A, without the party or we in power, you wouldn't be a minister. So if the party chairman decides to chastise any of the ministers, that's okay, that's in order. So there's nothing wrong with that.
There's no due process for relationship between the party and the government.
No, but of course there is.
Why would your new chairman go outside the party to chastise ministers that work for Mr. President?
Well, ministers don't work for Mr. President. Ministers work for the government. Ministers work for you and I. And the ministers happen to come from a party. And the chairman of the party, who is Adams Oshomole, is the chairman of the party. And the president also subscribes to him as the chairman of the party. So if the chairman of the party comes to say, look, and aren't the same members of the APC complaining that these appointments have not been done? So if the chairman says that, look, do this thing or we do that, there is nothing wrong with that.
For instance, Serika, the Minister of Aviation, the chairman, who is among those the chairman is accusing of not doing what they're supposed to do. This minister said they take instructions from Mr. President, not from Mr. Adams Oshomole.
That is true. No, that is true. They take, because he's the head of the government. But there's difference between government and the party. Does
Mr. Oshomole realize that?
I'm sure he does. Of course, of course. But then there would not be a government without the party. So it's vice versa. You cannot, because you are a minister, look down at the party as well. You need to consult. You need to even brief the party of what's happening in your ministry. So that, because when the party start to talk about the government, what the government is doing, they will be informed. And look, these are the kind of differences that make politics. There is bound to be friction between ministers and party or same party members. That's what keeps the life going. And I was with him. Actually, we had a meeting in the villa. If you look at the video, I was behind him when he made those statements. All in dialoguing between government, ministers, party members, and so on. And in the course of that, journalists like you waylaid him and put it to him. So, you know, it's all part of life and part of democracy.
Let's look at 2019. And I mean, you've been in politics. In 2011, you ran for governor of your state, Jigawa State. Today, 2019 is staring us in the face. What do you see? Some people say the way we are going, the unity of the country is at risk. How do you see journey to 2019? We're almost there.
Well, of course, political crisis will be there, even from the defection. But then, luckily for us, as a country, and also as political parties, the two major gladiators, the APC and the PDP, have somehow agreed among themselves this time around to field the presidential candidates from the north. So that also, says that, look, we're the same people. If the PDP will decide on their own that let our candidate come from this part of the country, and APC also like a second term, so that will go and not bring a lot of problems. That's one. Then two, elites are responsible for this kind of division. You and I are one and the same. You are my friend for a long time. So if you and I appreciate and understand that, look, we need to be one and we need to live together. We don't need this rancor. I don't need to go to my village and start talking bad about Vin Martin Ilo, who is my friend. Or you don't need to go to your village and say that, look, that Ndiugu is bad, while I go to my place and say Nyamuri is bad. So if we, the elites of this country, decide to have peace, there will be. And I think we should start putting our differences, aside. That, look, we need to, first of all, have a country for us to even dialogue. So for us to have a country is to ensure that, look, we don't throw the water with the baby, that kind of thing. We don't have to take it so personal to start bringing religious and ethnicity into our well-being or into dialoguing or into us as a people. As I told you, the elites of this country are one and the same. Whenever it comes to stealing, taking money, bribe, nobody talks about where you come from. The elites sit around the table, Christians, Muslims, and share. And when you, if you look at the prosecution that is going on about the corruption, you cannot say there are more Muslims or less Christians. They are one and the same. So, and I call on the masses of this country to understand that, look, the problem of this country, it's us, the elites. We have pauperized them so bad that, look, whatever we do, they will follow us because we have stolen them dry and we party together with the elites. Our children marry among themselves. We do things together. But when it comes to, our personal interest, we all go back to our villages and start weeping sentiment. So the masses, I call on the masses of Bayelsa and that of Jigawa to understand that we are one and the same. And if we try to divide them, they should teach us a lesson at the polling units.
The last time you ran for governor, is it possible that we are going to 2019 and you just want to you don't want to be part of the struggle for positions?
No.
You're not looking at anything?
Absolutely. I'm not contest. I am Buhari till death do us part. So I shall continue to be with him, work for the president to ensure that we win election, so that we'll continue with this process of bringing back the country, bringing back life into the country. And look, so many things have gone wrong in this country that, look, if we don't go through this pain, there will not be enjoyment later. So I'm willing to be a guinea pig, to stay without a position or without contesting for anything, but to work for my party and the president to ensure we continue in government. And I'm very happy with my position.
Mr. FAROUK ADAMU ALIYU, I must thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Also earlier today, I was on the phone with Honorable SERGIUS OGUNS, representing ESAN Northeast, ESAN Southeast in the House of Representatives. And I asked him what he thought about the recent defections that we see in the political space.
Well, this happened in 2014. It's not a new thing. And my only disappointment is the hypocrisy around it coming from the APC. So today, has happened, and it's the APC now coming to PDP, and people are casting aspersion on those that are moving, saying that they don't have political ideologies, they are politics of the stomach, and they don't have any relevance in their constituencies and all that. To me, it's the hypocrisy that I'm not happy with. But that's just one part of it. Again, really, we should grow our democracy and go beyond people moving every 4 years. I pray this is not going to happen in another 4 years.
When people talk about lack of political ideologies, people not believing on a particular thing, not living by principles, is it not something you think has some credibility in it, that a lot of our politicians are just there, like someone said, using politics and the political parties as a special SPVs, special purpose vehicles?
But those are truncated democracies. This democracy, 1984, so to speak, are the beneficiaries today. Because you can imagine if we had sustained it from then, we would have learned a lot by now, and the democracy we are practicing today would have matured. So we still call it the nascent democracy because we are still in the learning process. That's why I'm saying I'm praying that this should not repeat itself again in 4 years' time. Because as it stands today, the political parties have just become vehicles for aspire for political office. Mm-hmm. It's a shame, I guess, because there's hunger in the land, and because there's also no internal democracy in political parties, people go to that vehicle, and when they cannot achieve their aim, they move to another one.
Let's look at, for instance, the Senate, because of what is happening, moved its vacation from the last time they sat to some time in September. There were a number of things on their plate, but they would rather not do those things than do it and maybe allow people use the opportunity of their being there and coming up with some mischief.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing about politicians. I'm sorry to sound like this, because they really don't put the people first. The rumor is that they were going to change the leadership in the Senate that day. That's the executive. Mm-hmm. I'm sure now it's no longer a rumor that there was a boss somewhere, a coastal boss somewhere in Transcorp Hilton, and then while they were meeting in a Protea Hotel, the plan was to get enough people there. Then, even if they don't have the majority, go into the Senate, having taken care of, having barricaded Senator Saraki's house and the Kurimandu, so the presiding officer now we're not going to be available to preside. Then they will have their men, the people loyal to the executive now, come into the Senate, take over power, and then adjourn immediately till end of October. So in either case, both parties were going to do it, And this is the bad thing about democracy. I take your mind back again to Edo election, because that's my state. They claimed that there were security issues. INEC was not even aware. The INEC chairman was in Edo meeting with stakeholders when he saw breaking news. So if there are security issues, are you telling me the INEC chairman will not be aware or will not be briefed? He was, and they claimed they moved 27,000 policemen there, outside the civil defense, DSSS, military and all. And yet within 2 weeks we had that election. And then the security issues had disappeared. Till today, nobody told us what the security issues were. And then the point I'm trying to make, who paid for all that? They usually tell us they spend a lot of money. A lot of money was spent mobilizing the security agents. INEC, what's it called now? Ad hoc personnel. All that money went down the drain. This was 2 years ago when we were crying that there was no money in the country. Billions were wasted because the party in power then felt if that election was conducted, then they would not win. And we just wasted billions and nobody talks about it. So the point I'm making is, most times these politicians don't put the people first. Is what is convenient, whatever they can do to gain power, they will do it. And the earlier we begin to talk about these things, to frame the narrative, the better for this country. It's not a matter of PDP or APC now. Whenever it happens, we should attack it as an issue that's going to affect us in the long run.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, Obiora, thank you very much.
Just before we go, let's bring you what Nigerians are saying about these defections across the country.
From the look of things, the reason is not far-fetched. It's just, to me, it's just a personal, a selfish interest. They want to have a sense of belonging. They want to belong to where their selfish, their interests will be their priority.
None of them among those that defected from APC to PDP defected because they were actually not satisfied with how the government is being run by the president, but rather it's because they feel dissatisfied or some of their grievances were not met by the president.
Everybody we know, we all know, Nigerians know already, it's out of their own selfish interest. It's not for the benefit of the country. They are not doing anything to help the country. They are fighting for their own shares and how to loot money again. If one place is not working for them, as usual, they come to another place in order to make their own money.
When one party did not favor them, they will run to the other one. Look at the other time, there's AD. From AD, they form APC. After then, we see them, they scatter again, they call new PDP. Later, they come to APC. So when the thing doesn't favor them, they will leave and go where it favors them.
Politicians are decamping because they feel they will have to move to a place where their personal interests will be carried along. It has nothing to do with the interests of the masses. It has nothing to do with the interests of the nation. It's purely personal.
And that's our package for today on the Signature Show. Remember that you can reach us on our social media platforms, and that if you missed this program, part of it, or if you've missed any of our earlier programs, that you can get to watch it if you go to our online portal, signaturetv.com.ng. And until we meet again, I am Vin Martin Obiora Ilo from the Signature Studios in Abuja, Nigeria, thanking you for watching.